Like a woman 43 weeks pregnant, a book past its due date, or a long-needed visit between friends, this is Overdue with the Slut and the Prude.
A monthly feminist podcast that highlights the beauties of libraries while discussing everything from politics to pop culture and whatever nonsense pops into our heads.
Hello again.
We're back.
3 months in a row.
Third podcast. Yay!
I mean, it's a pretty good record for us.
That is actually, considering we weren't even sure if we were going to do this. So that is improvement. So today we are coming from Courtney Park Library. This library opened in late 2004 and serves as both a community library and a school library for St. Marcelina Secondary School. The Courtney Park location includes 2 fireplace lounge reading areas. Fancy.
That's fancy.
That is fancy.
And like most libraries, right now, it seems to have 3D printers, workstations, and whatever a maker space is. And 2 study rooms.
Yes.
It's interesting.
2 study rooms. What I'm noticing is how different all these libraries are. The first library, Burnham Library, was teeny tiny.
Oh, it was, yeah.
It was like literally just a strip, 1 level, very small, everything there. Central Library was massive, 4 floors,
yeah.
And it had literally everything you could possibly think of.
A children's space, a science space, like a huge amount of study rooms, including little individual ones.
Mm-hmm. And this one is both a library community center and attached to a school.
Yeah. And
it has 2 floors, technically.
Yeah, it's 2 floors. It's more like it drops into a space.
Yeah.
I would say that they space it well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they understand they're like...
It's cozy though.
Yeah, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like lower ceilings. You feel a little bit like you're in a den.
Mm-hmm.
But
it kind of feels like your living room if you had a very, very big living room.
I mean, and 2 fireplace lounges.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want a fireplace lounge in their living room?
Yeah, I would love that.
I think what it is, though, is that with libraries becoming so attacked, almost, because they're not seen as necessities in a community, they're having to kind of become almost interdisciplinary. They have to be everything. They can't just be books. They have to be multimedia. They have to be community centers. They have to be art spaces and everything like that. Otherwise, they just get seen as like non-essential. So I feel like that's what they have to do. They really have to diversify to survive at all. And I mean, if this one's attached to a school, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They can't just get rid of it because what can they make? Like, what could they possibly put in this space that is appropriate to be attached to a school?
And a Catholic school at that.
And a Catholic school at that. And we know the Catholics have all the money, so we know that this isn't going to go away anytime soon.
And that might be the problem, because remember we talked about last month, my library close to my home was getting rid of all their books for whatever reason. Yeah. And it might be that because it's not as big and they're not offering as much because it's not as big. And so there may be just like no need for it or not enough need for it.
And it's really sad because it's like if it's small, it needs more support. To get bigger, it needs support. Yeah. But it can't get support unless it's bigger.
Yeah.
It can't get bigger unless it has support. It's like that whole like, well, we need a job, but we need experience to get a job.
You can't get experience without the job. Yep.
Yeah. It's like it's a huge cycle. Politics is just
the paradox of life.
Yeah, the paradox of life. I mean, we just went through not a new political change, but a political change. And so that kind of just highlights it because it's going to be very interesting 4 years with the way politics is. But before we get into politics, that is just, it's a Friday. I don't know if we want to get into politics. I want to talk about
It's been a long week to get into politics, to be fair. Yeah.
So here's something I was curious about. Today at work, we did a school planting. So that essentially means that schools book time with us and they come out with us and we buy trees, shrubs, all sorts of stuff. And we basically try to naturalize our park. So we have areas of the park that were just grass or just not very well maintained. And we bring kids out to plant trees.
And you put them to work.
And we put them to work, right?
Child labor. No.
Yeah. So this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about stewardship activities. Okay. That's what the umbrella term that schools and stuff use for these kind of field trips. they call them stewardship activities. And I think the idea is meant to be that you're supposed to, the kids are meant to get some kind of appreciation for nature. It's supposed to like add towards like a green, like carbon neutralization, like the idea that if you do this, you're decreasing your carbon footprint because you're putting in something that's going to take carbon out of the atmosphere, right? But say today we had 2 groups of 35 children. Okay, so 70 kids total.
At once?
No. It was like we had a morning session and an afternoon session,
good.
so
Thank
it's
God.
like, yeah, believe me, yeah. I've had 70 kids at once. That was a doozy. But we had 70 kids through the day. They planted. We took 60 plants out, and we had 14 left. So they planted like 50-ish plants in the day. Maybe 20 of them will die, those plants. And that's the nature of it. One, we give them a 10-minute overview on how to plant. Yeah. And we send them out and we like walk with them and like plant stuff, like help them, like if they need help or if they're like, is this hole deep enough? And we're like, God no.
Not even.
Or if it's like too deep and the plant's gonna be half underneath the ground, or like it's gonna flood and stuff like that. Like we're there to help them. But at the end of the day, like there's 2 of us, 2 staff members, maybe 4 teachers and family members with these kids on these field trips, and then just the kids. It's hard to make sure that they're doing it correctly. Oh yeah. And so we always have to assume like a quarter of the plants will die. Yeah. And sometimes it's more and sometimes it's less. So what I wanted to ask is it worth it?
I think so.
Because some people say it's exploitative. Exploitation.
No, I definitely think that it is worth it, even if quarter of them it die, because as you say, it's teaching them a new skill, and it's, a different form of learning, which is awesome, because we definitely need different ways to learn, because everybody learns differently. So it's much better than to pick up a textbook and be like, this is how you plant a tree. Because let's face it, between reading about it and actually doing it, it's always better to do. Even if the tree does die, the child has the knowledge that they planted something and it survived for at least a little bit, but that they did it. It's an accomplishment to them, and a sense of accomplishment can't do anything but help people's self-esteem. And learning about nature and conservatory and conservation and conservatories. Let's learn about the conservatives. Oh no, we have enough of that in Ontario. Yeah. But conservation and just nature and gender. I cannot talk today.
Well, to be fair though, it does teach a lot about gender. I find, because at the end of the day, first of all, our team that teaches these kids is predominantly female.
Woo, go women.
So like we're showing them that like we can dig holes and plant trees, and that this is something you can do. But also like nature in general like teaches about a lot of feminist ideas. Like if you care about the environment, you could probably care about people, because the environment can't talk. Yeah. So if you can care about that and understand that things don't need a strong voice to be like valuable. Yeah. If you know that much, then you know people with a voice, obviously valuable, kind of thing. So, yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think it's exploitation. No. It does suck. Like, when you work in the field and like, you see 200 trees planted over 2 weeks, and maybe 100 will die. It sucks. It does. But at the same time, it's almost like future proofing. I mean, it is. Like, you're literally planting things to take carbon out of the air. Yeah. But also, if in that group of 70 children, 2 of them go on to do what I do in the future, they're going to be planting like triple, quadruple those trees, or doing stewardship activities that are worth 2 to 3 times or more than what all those kids did in that hour. Yeah.
And even if they do die, it's actually a great lesson for them to learn anyway, because it talks about the importance of why these trees are so important, what happens in the real world and in nature when, survival of the fittest. Not every tree that is born naturally will survive either. And that's the sucky reality of life, is that things die.
They do.
And what happens when we lose too many trees? What happens to us? Why is it important that we plant these trees and all that information? So I don't think there's a downside. I don't think it's ever not worth it. It's just, it's a sucky reality. Not everything will survive, and that kind of, it's the truth about life.
It really is. And the interesting thing is that, like, from a business point of view, because obviously our company is business and we have to buy these plants and plant them, whatever. From a business side, it's never good.
Right.
Because, like, they're always going to die. But from a kind of, like, projections view, it's always going to be better. But it's interesting to see, like, we have parents, like, 'cause obviously school trips, depending on the age, they ask for a certain number of parents to come along, because the teacher, it's outside, you need to have extra eyes. Some of the parents are very much like, why are we doing this? Like, why do I pay to have my child come here? First of all, children
why would you come there if that was your attitude?
Yeah, first of all, yeah. Second of all, your child is under 12 years old. They got on that bus for free.
Yeah.
3, the teacher usually has a stipend of like, here's your money for going on trips this year. So you probably didn't pay a single penny.
And you got out of work, okay? You got out of work, out of your stuffy office, and you planted a freaking tree.
Yeah. So we have those parents, and then we have today especially was the day of surprise. Separately, 2 teachers came up to us and were like, do you see those kids over there? And there are usually 2 groups, because we do groups of 2 of boys. And they're like, I've never seen them listen. I've never seen them work so hard. Because we're outside. We're in the fresh air, and we're doing something different than what they probably would have done in school. Yeah. These 2 groups of kids planted 5 trees amongst the 4 of them.
Awesome.
Most kids only get 1 in the ground in the hour, and we have to go around and, like, fix it to give it the best chance it has. And these teachers were, like, shocked. They're like, I'm so surprised that it's those kids that are the ones that are planting so well. And it just goes to show that everybody has different skills. Yeah. And everybody thrives in different conditions.
Everybody has their own way of learning, which is why we need all these different avenues. We can't just have them sitting at a desk, reading from textbooks, doing your math sets. No, we need to be taking them out. We need to get them hands-on. We need to have them just viewing the world differently, because everybody learns differently. Which is actually another question I have for you. It's related.
Okay. I love this.
This family has 7 kids.
Okay.
And they actually pulled their kids out of school, from traditional schooling, and now travel the world with them teaching.
Oh.
And so a lot of people, they actually have a YouTube channel, and they go around and host videos, blah,
Sounds
blah, blah,
like
blah,
exactly my kind of YouTube channel.
Exactly. But a lot of comments from people are saying this is abuse.
To the kids?
Yes, it's child abuse.
To the 7 kids, or to the kids that they're educating?
So all their 7 kids are there. So they actually have 3 biological sons and I think 4 adopted Chinese kids.
Okay.
And so they're RVing, they're going all over the place. These are their kids.
Yeah.
And they're saying...
So are they educating other children, or is it...
No, it's just...
They're like homeschooling.
It's their homeschooling.
Okay, yeah.
But people are commenting and saying that it's child abuse because the kids need to be in school, they need to have a proper learning environment, and what they're doing, traveling all over the world with these kids and getting hands-on learning, that's not real learning, it's abuse. What are your thoughts?
First of all, that's bull.
First of all, I want to know what the hell these people do to afford to take 7 kids around the world.
Yeah, that's one thing. First of all, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, I know RVing and stuff actually saves you a lot of money. Not upfront, like the upfront cost is a lot, and you've got to have a good nest egg to be able to maintain your vehicles. But I don't know where these people think that their argument stands. Because obviously, so the only thing that I think that could be hard is space. Like everybody having personal space, if for no one else than the parents themselves, because having space for intimacy is very important, especially when you're traveling, especially when you're with your family, as much as these people probably are. But all it's going to do is give these kids an amazing perspective on the world. Like, what? I don't... Because if they're traveling around the world, if they're traveling all the time, it's going to make these kids far less racist and sexist than any other kids, because they're seeing how different cultures interact. They're going to be the least picky eaters that you've ever met, because they're going to be trying all these cultures' foods. And they're going to get to experience different kinds of education. I don't see how that could be abusive in any way, unless the kids were like, I hate this. I want to go home. Yeah. That's the only way I'd say that would be abusive, is if the kids voiced that they don't want to travel anymore and the parents are literally dragging them through. But how could they, what are these people talking about?
Yeah, so their philosophy is just like playtime is learning time, or learning time is playtime. And literally they give free range to the kids and be like, what do you want to learn? And they go off and they learn it. So they have some kids who are learning like Japanese, and other kids who are doing like math, and other kids who are doing whatever. And like they have designated times in which they need to be studying, but it's not the traditional you sit at a desk and you do your textbook work. It's like, we're going to the African market today and we're going to learn about like African culture. And or we're going to like rock climbing. I guess we'll learn physics when you fall off. No, I'm kidding. Gravity, kids.
I think that, so that's actually really interesting, because if I was to go and be a teacher, I would want to go to Montessori style schools. Because there's a lot of research worldwide that is the best way to teach. For instance, there's a kindergarten in Japan that has been built so that it's inside outside. It's like a continuous building. Like, have you seen that image of like the figure 8 that is both on top and underneath?
Oh no.
Like, it's like figure 8, and it's like it passes up itself and under itself. Ew. It's an optical illusion, right? Okay. It's meant to look like it's both above itself and under itself, and twists without folding. Ooh. Kind of thing, right? And so this building has been built with that concept, and the kids have free reign to like run around the whole space. And I believe it's, I want to say Sweden, because they seem to be the people who do this kind of stuff, but they have a lot of schools where it's the idea of you choose what you learn, and the kids have free reign. There's no class time, but the teachers will be in the room doing something at all times, and it's the child's choice on whether they want to go out and play for the whole day or if they want to come inside. And studies have shown that kids will choose to learn if you give them the space to do it, as long as you also give them the space to leave and like go and do what they want. Because kids, human children, are naturally driven to learn. Like, they want to. They're sponges. Their brains are just like absorbing at like speeds that we don't even truly understand. And so I think that's a brilliant thing to do. I think that it's not possible for everybody, but I think if our school systems in Canada took on, especially in the younger years, like between, say, when do you start school at, like 6? Like
5, 6,
yeah. Say 5 to 11. If we adopted this more like you play to learn kind of style, or like I think in my old workplace we called it like student-driven learning. So the students drive the learning. Like, they decide which route they take in any particular thing. And then through like 11 and 12 start transitioning them into more of a traditional learning. By that age, they're probably already there. They're probably already wanting to like, they're not going to want to run around as much. Yeah. They're going to want to like read books and like do whatever, just so they're ready if they do want to go into higher education. Like, they do eventually need to learn those skills, because it is a skill. But when they're in like 6 to like 11 or 12, they're just not in the place to sit still for 2 hours and like listen to a teacher lecture. It's just not how kids are. But if you teach them as they run, Like, they tend to learn more. So I'd say everyone else is, like, absolutely insane. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. They've never had children, obviously. They've never seen a child.
Yeah, I don't know why, but we have this very rigid idea of what things should be. Whether it's education, whether it's marriage, whether it's whatever. It would just we have very rigid ideas, and if anything deviates from that, it's abuse, or it's abnormal, or it's deviant. Yeah.
Well, it's the same with post-secondary. So once you finish high school, right now anyway, in the last 10, maybe the last 20 years, 20, 30 years, there's been a big push for secondary education, universities. And so there's been a lot of drop-off in the trades, and there's a lot of attitude that if you're in the trades, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just not smart enough, you're not driven enough, well, you can always go to the trades. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're like, oh, I can't find I didn't get into universities, people will be like, well, you could always go to the trades. It's always like a secondary thing. Whereas, how else are we going to build houses? Yeah. How else are we going to have sewer systems? How else are we going to
keep the lights on?
Yeah. We need the trades. The point is that they're trades. Like, we need to trade in them to have a society. Or, like, for some reason, like, being a bus driver is seen as less than, whereas public transit is literally necessary for a functioning urban environment. Or, like, grocery stores. Oh, you work in a grocery store full time? How else are you gonna get your food? Like, you need to go grocery shopping on the weekend, Karen. Like, you want to go grocery shopping on a Saturday? Oh, boo-hoo, you can't anymore because you didn't want any grocery store clerks to work there full time.
That's awesome.
Like, Karen, like, grow up. So yeah, I don't know where we went wrong. That we felt like one way is the only way.
And then it's really funny because in different times it would have been the complete opposite. Like, if you had knowledge and could read a book, it's like, well, you're fucking useless because we need people to build and we need to,
plow the fields.
Exactly. And soldiers to fight, and get out of your book, you stupid nerd, and go put a helmet on.
Yeah, and even like while I was in, and the thing is, the really crazy thing too is in school, like when you're in elementary school, you were the weirdo for reading. And then high school, you've got these kids who are, like, neurotic about, like, I shouldn't read, like, blah. And then you get into a place where you're in high school where all of a sudden it flips. 1 year, it just flips all of a sudden. It's like, you need to read more, you need to do this more. Oh, your varsity sports will take you nowhere. Like, stop being active. Like, go read, go do this. Your test scores aren't good enough. To get into a university maybe you don't actually want to do. And we have all this pressure between 16 and 18 to make a decision. Are you going to go to university? Are you going to go find a job you lay about? Or are you going to go into a trade? Ooh, a trade.
It's funny because there's actually in schools and from teachers themselves that kind of bias. I remember when I was in middle school, we had to pick all these courses for, like, high school and all that, and there was a difference between, are you going to do academic math, are you going to do applied math?
That's so stupid.
And it was like academic was seen as more scholarly, right? Like you're independent and you're smart, and applied math was like, we're more hands-on, we're going to show you like how to actually figure out the equations and all that and really understand it. And I'm like, I'm not smart enough for academic math. I hate math. I'm doing applied math. I think it's better for me. And my math teacher actually sat me down. She's like, Nora, I noticed you took applied math instead of academic math. Why is that? Like, I don't know. I just thought it was better. Like, you're smart enough for academic math. I'm like, okay. Like, you don't have to go into applied math. You can actually do academic math. And it kind of reiterated this feeling that everybody had, like, oh, you're going into applied math? That's because you're dumb.
It's so stupid.
And I was like, don't tell anybody you're in applied math. And I remember this girl in school when I was in high school. She stood outside of the classroom with her friend. She's like, I don't want to go in there. I'm so embarrassed. Because she came from academic down to applied. Down to.
Oh, my God.
And her friends were like, it's okay, don't be embarrassed, go in there. Like, but do you see the people who are in there? Oh, I don't know anybody, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, look, Nora's in there, you're fine. It's not bad, okay? Just get your ass in there.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, okay. So she came in, and I'm like, is there something to be ashamed of because we're in applied math? Because, like...
It's hard, right? Because, like, so we had the same in Britain. at least in my school, there were 3 maths routes you could take. You could take statistical maths. Yeah, I know. You could take mechanical maths, or you could take a bit of both, like half of each. Mm-hmm. Like they just called it maths at that point. Statistical maths was, as it sounds, it was statistics, integrations, tables with numbers on it, all that stuff, right? Mechanical maths was like engineering maths. It was like physics and like slopes.
That sounds horrible too.
So I loved that one. So that's the thing, right? I hated maths too. Mm-hmm. I always struggled. I still don't know my times tables properly. Like I'm just like a disaster.
I use my fingers.
I still use my
2,
fingers.
4,
I still use the like, I draw it out and I do the thing and I do the long division. Like I still do that, right? But mechanical maths, for some reason, clicked in my brain. Like I was just like, oh, the world has opened. And it was like Newton's laws of physics. Like it was physics maths. It was like, here's a slope. Here's a box that weighs this much. Here's a pulley. How much weight do you need on the pulley, given all of this other stuff, to move that object? And you had to take into account friction and stuff like that, right? So it was like physics and maths had a baby. And for me, that was great because that's how my brain worked. And I understood it because I could see it happening. Where statistics, I was like, what is this? Why are there numbers all over the place? What is this chart? Why are there so many numbers that are the same in the same place? It just didn't work for me. Yeah. But if you were taking mechanical maths, you were seen as dumb. And if you were taking mixed, you were like, oh, I guess you're
acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like you're acceptable. And it was like, you could tell in the statistical class and the mechanical class which students were taking both. And you could see that they were kind of like not sitting with everybody else.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like in the classroom, like I sat in the middle row, and so all the people who took both sat in the middle row because they knew each other, and all the others were like on the sides, like, oh, you take the mixed class. And it's just like, it's so stupid that we see that or assume that you need to have only like one kind of study to be acceptable. It's not even like smart, it's like to be acceptable. Yeah. You need to take a certain kind of work. Whereas this world needs, the way we built our world, we need like every facet. We need the people who are in education because we need them, because education is good for opening the mind to a lot of things, like feminism, like politics, like all these things, right? But we also need people who are really good at seeing the bigger picture and knowing, oh, I know what's wrong with your pipes and why everything is flooding. Or I know why the lights won't turn on. Yeah. Or I know why, like, your car is making a roaring sound. We need all those levels. And people love to look down on people. And it's so, like, archaic. Like, we like to say, oh, it's 2019.
It's funny, though, because, like, a lot of times it is the academics who are looking down on like the applied people, but it's also the reverse as well. Because like they know you don't know shit about cars, so I could easily take advantage of you, and some people do. And it's funny because my cousin is in school. Well, he's in an apprenticeship. And so he went from co-op in high school to actually working for the job for the company that he did co-op with. Yeah. And now he's getting his apprenticeship hours with them. He's working. Yeah. And all he has to do is a couple of like classes from like an actual institute. Yeah. Every other semester or something like that. And so we were talking one day and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And he told me all this and I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's like, I love working. I hate going to school. And I'm like, that's funny because I actually hate working and I love going to school. I love learning.
Yeah, I've been thinking that too lately.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of being a forever student, except for the fact that I don't have like billions of dollars to pull out of my ass to do it. Yeah, but if I could, I definitely would be one of those people who are a forever student. I love learning. I love finding out new things. I
know. I would be one of those people who went to the Citadel and like was the academic that like learned all these things.
And so when I told him that, I'm like, I don't like working. I kind of like being in school. He's like, you're lazy. And I'm like,
what?
same to you, buddy, because once upon a time, the idea of you not wanting to go to school and not wanting to do the work was like, you're just lazy. You just don't want to put in the work for school. But it's like, oh, now he's saying I'm lazy because I don't want to work.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like, it's crazy. But it's like, it's just different kinds of work. And you like working with your hands. I like working with my mind. We're doing the same effort.
I'm sure the energy output is the same, like when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so interesting that we have these ideas and that, like, I would love to be a student. I found it so stressful, like grades and like all this kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. But the stress of me being in between jobs right now is far worse. Mm-hmm. Like not knowing where things are gonna come from. Like where am I gonna get my next paycheck? Where am I gonna do this? Like, does my boss hate me? At least I knew if my teachers hated me, because if they were giving me lower grades than I think I deserved, I'd be like, that teacher hates me. Yeah. Whereas my boss is just gonna be like, here's your work for the day, and leaves. And then I'm like, do you hate me? Am I doing a good job? I need validation. Yeah. It's very interesting. I think that we need some shifts in our society. I mean, of course we do, but I think some shifts include this, like, student-driven learning, especially in the formative years when, like, brains are developing so quickly. It'd be good to be able to figure out what kids actually want to learn. Yeah. And then in the, like, mid-years, like 11 to 14, like, let's start teaching them how to be academic, because their brains are at the place where they can probably function in a classroom at least a little better, and they've gotten a lot of their energy out. They've found what they love to do already, because, like, we've let them drive their own learning for so long. The art kids probably know that they want to be art kids, and the mechanical kids probably know they want to be mechanical kids, and you're gonna find the academics who are like, I don't want to play, I want to read, which was me. And you're gonna find them in those formative years, and then you can drive towards the academic that they need to have. So like the maths and the whatever. And people seem to think that kids aren't gonna learn maths if you let them play. But, like, how easy is it when they're doing blocks to go 1, 2, 3 blocks?
Right, colors. I do that with my niece and nephew. And I'll be like, so-and-so, what color is this? Oh, that's red. Right, red block. Awesome. And now you're stacking them and, like, okay, what color is that? Blue. Right. And, like, right there, he doesn't even know that I'm teaching him his colors or reminding him his colors. No. It's just like we're playing blocks, and I just taught you all the colors. And why are your blocks falling down? Because your base isn't sturdy. What does that mean? We're going to learn about gravity. We're going to learn about physics.
Yeah, and it's so easy to be like, it fell down. Why did it fall down? I don't know. Gravity. And if a kid is curious, they'll go, what's gravity? Yeah. And once they've had enough of that conversation, they will move on. If you let them. We're shoving information at them. They're not going to learn it. They're not going to remember it. But if you let them drive their own learning, kids will keep asking why until they've had enough.
Or until you stump them.
Yeah, or until you stump them. And at that point, though, they will typically walk away and come back with a thought-out question. That's how they work. That's how their brains work. They want to absorb. But, like, almost nobody functions well under the pressures of school. Right. Like, it's how many people who were really good in school, in, like, elementary school and maybe early years of high school, floundered as soon as they left that. Like, I know a lot of my mental illnesses probably stemmed from my elementary and high school days when, like, I put so much pressure on myself academically that then I flopped. Or I had, like, the reading level of, like, a college student at, like, 7 years old. Yeah. And then where do you go from that? Because they put so much pressure on this, wow, you must be so smart. You're reading at a college level already. Like, you're going to be in all these advanced programs without asking me what I wanted to do. I used to be brilliant at languages.
What do you mean
I was fluent in 3 languages up until about 11 years old. And I've lost it.
All of it?
Other than English, but
you speak Welsh.
I speak a little bit of Welsh. I speak a little bit of French and English. I can still kind of read in French, but because I had so much pressures, I wanted to go into languages, but my family was like, no, maths and science, and it's fine. I love maths and science. I hate maths, love science, but like it's that same like, well, language isn't as prestigious as maths and science are. So, like, no, you don't need to take those classes. You can take these ones instead.
Sorry, I'm studying for my test tomorrow.
Oh, yeah,
and what you're telling me is exactly the theory of something that I can't remember.
That's so
it's the
funny.
perfect example, and I just can't remember the fucking theory.
Test. There you go, for your test.
I can't remember the fucking theory. Excuse my language. But essentially it says that if you reward people for doing what they love, it actually is a detriment to them, and that they stop actually liking it because of that. So they don't understand, am I liking it because I'm being rewarded, or am I liking it because I actually like it?
That's interesting.
And so it has the opposite effect of what we think it does by rewarding them to continue doing things that they like. So they start to think, well, I am only liking this because I'm getting something out of it, so maybe I actually really don't like it, and they stop liking it.
Interesting. How does social media work then under that theory?
Social media is
gratification.
Yeah, that's that would be operant conditioning, positive reinforcement, or negative reinforcement. So you post something, you get a lot of likes, boost your self-esteem. It gives you reason to continue doing it, and then it just goes into a cycle.
And the other one is, I love this. You should love it, or like.
So think of the saying, do what you love and you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people end up feeling like, I don't know if I really like doing this anymore. It feels like really draining.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
Because they're being paid to do something that they would have done for free before.
Right.
And so now it's like, well, do I really love this? Or is it because I'm being paid to?
Interesting.
That's why I like it.
They do say money stumps creativity. I've also heard the saying that you should have 3 hobbies. One that makes you money, one that you enjoy doing, or how is it? It's one that makes you money, one that improves your social life, and one that improves your solitude. That's what I've heard. You should have 3 hobbies. That's interesting. I guess that makes sense. I used to love maths and science, and then my mom would reward me when I got really good grades, and now I can't think about doing maths. I used to be so good, and then the language stuff, I used to be so brilliant, but they'd be like, no, you don't want to do that. I'm trying to relearn Welsh.
I think you should, and then you should take me to Wales.
Sure, you can come with us.
Who's us? Oh, you and Kyle?
Yeah, I'm not going back to Wales by myself.
Why not? You have family there.
Not anymore. Not the way they've been acting.
But what was I going to say? Oh, so for me, I feel like a lot of people in school, they have a general idea of what they like to do and they don't. And I feel like for me, I probably did. And then I just got so many different messages from so many different people that I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Yeah. And I got into I went to college right after high school and I wanted to do something hands-on. I thought I was the hands-on kind of person. I wasn't smart enough to be an academic. I'm too stupid. And then I did the hands-on thing and I'm like, I don't really like this either, but I don't think I'm not a hands-on person. I'm not an academic. So what am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? And then I did all these counseling things and career counseling and all that. And they're like, actually, no, you really are more of an academic-y type, mental health, writing, that stuff, which is what I actually always kind of knew, reading and writing.
But you've got all those mixed messages.
Yeah. I mean, most of them, it was just you're an idiot. So I'm like, okay, well, I have no intelligence, so I'm not clearly an academic.
So hard.
But then it's you as a general person kind of suck too. So it's well, then I can't make any money from being me. So there goes the performance art. So what do you do when you're both, useless and stupid?
Yeah, I got a lot of that as well. I got a lot of you're supposed to be smarter than this.
Oh.
I got a lot of that growing up. A lot of, you're supposed to be smarter than this. I'd bring a grade home and maybe it wasn't as good as my usual grades. Yeah. And it would be, you're supposed to be smarter than this. And that's a rough thing to get told as a kid. What do you mean I'm supposed to be smarter than this? What does that mean? Yeah, it's a lot of just expectations. A lot of piled up expectations. Which leads me to something unrelated, but bothering me.
Oh, okay.
So I went to try on dresses, wedding dresses.
Oh, yeah.
On a week ago, on Tuesday, a week past. It was an interesting experience for multiple reasons. Mostly because it was my mom, my sister, and my grandmother who were there with me. No, we're 2 years out from the wedding, so it's pretty early, but otherwise they wouldn't have seen any dresses, because my mom and my sister probably won't be here when it's actual dress buying time. So I was like, this is perfect. It'll give me an idea of what I'm getting myself into, and they get to have the experience, and then I can move on with my life. So that was interesting, because they're not very emotional people. So they were very blank-faced at every dress I came out in. No, like, oh my god, you look so pretty, which is what I wanted.
Stereotypical UK people?
Yeah, very much like, that's a dress. And I was like, okay, I need validation.
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot as a child, obviously.
Right.
And I like validation.
Yeah.
I like, you look beautiful. That's a beautiful dress. They'd be like, that is a dress. That is a wedding dress. They'd be like, the sleeves look great. Like, that kind of thing.
Great, I'll just wear the sleeves.
Yeah, I'll just wear the sleeves, nothing else. Natty, how do you feel about that? All on show. Because her one thing she's asked me is, like, not too much cleavage.
Right.
Which, I mean...
It's a little difficult to
It's a little difficult when I have boobs.
When you are privileged.
When I'm privileged. But but that's one reason. That's something we can go into on a different day about that whole situation. What do they call them? Consultant?
I used to be one.
A bridal consultant? What? You did not tell me this. This is another story that we need to get into. But basically, when I told her it was 2 years away and that I was looking because my mom was in town and I won't see her, she was like, so you're not going to buy a dress today? And I was like, 1, you don't know that.
Right.
2, no. But you don't know that, so I'm offended. She's like, I'll give you some clips. You can go clip some dresses and then we'll just try them on. I was like, that sounds fair. And then she took me to a corner. She's like, these are all our plus size dresses. They will look best on you. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Like, I probably wouldn't be able to squeeze into the other dresses that they have. It probably wouldn't be a very good way to see what a dress looks like on me.
Right.
Because she's like, we can order almost any of these dresses in the store in your size. But we probably don't carry the size so you can try it on.
Right.
And I was like, fair. It would probably suck to, like, have a dress, like, pulled to here.
Exactly.
And try to try it on. So that's fine. I tried on 3 dresses. I figured out what I don't like, which is great. What I have a question for you, especially now that I know you're a bridal consultant. There was one dress. It was corseted with a fairly strong structure inside. And her words were, this is the one you want because we can give you a good shape in it. And it is the one you will look good in. Because you don't want to worry about your stomach or your butt or your hips or your waist on your wedding day. And we can always loosen it so you can eat.
I'm cringing.
Yep. Those were her words. Because we tried on one with a bustier built into it. Not as much structure. Very comfortable, I found it. We tried on one with none of that, so it didn't have a built-in bra or anything like that. I guess they all kind of do, but like, whatever. And we tried on a corset one. And she said, you look pretty, but there's no structure. You're not going to be comfortable. It's got some structure, but we can't pull you in. So you're not going to be comfortable. Corset one. This one we can give you a nice shape. I will give you a nice shape. This is the one you want. So much structure. It'll hold you in. You're going to want to buy this dress so that we can give you a nice shape for your wedding day. That was my experience with the bridal consultant.
I mean, corsets in general give everybody a nice shape.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly,
I have one that's not for weddings. I have just a corset, and I think it looks beautiful.
Right. I used to be obsessed with the corsets when I was like in middle school. Anything that had a corset in it was a corset top, corset dress. I want it. I still kind of want it. Kim Kardashian's gone way too far with it.
Oh, yeah.
She's gone back to the Victorian times, and she's about to like lose an intestine. But anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, when done properly and not so extreme, they're beautiful.
Oh, and also very supportive.
Oh, yeah.
When my back hurts, I sometimes just wear the corset around the house because it holds the girls up and away. And also gives my back a rest.
Right. So there is some truth to what she was saying.
Oh, yeah.
her delivery, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, has she never spoken to a person in her life? Like, what?
Yeah, and she would say it to my family. She said it to their faces as well.
Was she the owner?
I don't know. I don't know. She kind of held herself like the owner.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, she kind of held herself.
I feel like an actual associate or consultant who didn't own it would never dare say anything like that to a client. Anybody who has feelings would never say something like that to a client. I mean, does it give you a nice shape? Would it hold everything in? Yes, that's true for everybody. Should she have said it like that? Oh my god, no.
Yeah, it was very interesting because, like, I have worn corsets. I do like them. Like, I think they do give a beautiful shape. I think they do hold the girls in a way that I would never have to worry about where they're going on the wedding day.
Yeah.
But I just literally can't believe that that's how she delivered it.
Yeah.
Because it was my least favorite dress for more than just the corset reason. It was like 20,000 layers. Like, she kept pulling up skirts to show us, and it was like, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. It was like, it was huge, like it was heavy, and I was not gonna, like, even if that didn't have a corset in and she didn't talk like that, I probably still would have been like, nah.
Right.
Because I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be like hauling, like, I don't want 12 people to go into the bathroom with me to hold my dress up. Like, I don't need that. I need maybe 4 people. Yeah. Maybe that's even too much. Like, whatever.
The funny thing is that a lot of designers don't mind putting in some kind of like corset or some kind of stays into the dress to give it a little more support. So it's not like you only can buy a corseted dress if you want a shape. There are a lot of alternatives that can be worked around if you ask the designer.
Yeah.
And so any dress that didn't have a corset could have probably put a corset in.
And if that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Like,
I mean, as a consultant, as a former consultant,
as a
consultant, like, wedding dresses are just like notoriously bad for sizes. Oh, yeah. I mean, their sizing is so off. If you want to feel like absolute shit about yourself, go dress shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even if you were like the skinniest twig in the world, they still make you feel like shit.
Yeah, because I was probably, to get it zipped up, like, to have a dress that she didn't have to, like, clamp into place, I think I was 2 or 3 sizes bigger in the wedding dress for it to just zip up. And, like, I was like, oh. Yeah. Like, did I suddenly gain weight? What is this?
Yeah, but, like, even a size 4 and, like, regular, which is pretty small, is super small in bridal dresses. So, like, their size 4 would be, like, a size 2 in real sizes. So, if you were a size 4 and you try that on, you would be, like, too small for you, and you think, oh my god, I'm so fucking big. Again, with the swearing, I'm sorry.
It's not a big deal. We have slut in the name of our podcast.
That is true.
I think if people are like, oh, this is a family friendly safe for work podcast.
The funny thing is everybody always apologizes to me whenever they swear. And it's just like,
it's habit forming.
Yeah, I think it's because of my youthful appearance. People think I'm younger or more innocent than I am, and so they always feel the need to apologize whenever they swear in front.
Also, women, for some reason, people think that they need to apologize to women. But even if you're a woman, you sometimes suddenly consciously feel like you have to.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's the women who've been apologizing to me.
Interesting.
And they're like, oh, and it's specifically me. Because it's not like there could be somebody else in the room and they'll swear and they'll say, oh, sorry, Nora. And I'm just like, do you know how often I swear?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay, yeah,
so
I have no idea then.
Yeah.
I think, you do just look younger than you are.
And I think I look a little more innocent than I am, but no, like, I swear like a trucker. And I think if people
that's something I loved about you. It's just, I do too.
And it's so casual, and it's like, I really don't mean anything by it, but I catch myself all the time. And I have to catch myself in front of my family and my mom.
God, my mom and my nan would die if they heard how I swear in front of Kyle. Like, they would die. Like, they might just roll over, just like dead.
So, yeah, it's really casual just for me to, like, lay an F-bomb or to say slut or whatever.
Well, slut shouldn't be a swear word anyway.
That's true.
Or a slur, it shouldn't be.
No. And I was saying something before I distracted myself with the F-bomb.
About the sizing of the wedding dresses. Yeah,
And
it's
so
pretty
yeah,
bad.
sample sizes are just teeny tiny, and that was the biggest problem that I always had. Even if I had a client who was actually on the small side, the dress would then be too big,
Yeah.
and they'd be like, "Oh, I remember because I actually bought one out, and she was super tiny. I was like using every pin I had to like keep it inside, and she's like, I love this dress. It looks so good on me." And then she went out, and her family was like, "It's too big." And I'm like, you're gonna have to use a little bit of imagination. I mean, yes, this sample size is too big, but you know, imagine when it's really sucked in and how she's going to look, and they're like, it's too big. And then she's like, I'm gonna order it my size, guys. But look how it looks. Doesn't it look good on me? Isn't this pretty? Blah blah blah. It's too big.
Jeez, people are so hyper focused.
And I'm like, we have to order it. It's not her size. Understand that when we do order it, it will be her size. It will not be falling off her.
We do not have to use 20 pins to keep it on her
you will
body.
not have to like hold behind her and carry it. No, it will fit her. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's too big. Okay, next size, like next dress. You have no imagination. But it's the same, but it's worse even for plus size people because they don't have the size.
No.
And so there's a lot more imagination to imagine how will this actually look when it is to my size.
That was a big problem because so there was one dress I loved. Like I am in between whether I want sleeves or not. And like she was like, sleeves draw attention to your arms if that's your issue. And I was like, first of all, stop assuming that was not why I wanted sleeves.
Right.
Because I don't care about my arms. That's the one thing that about my body that I really am just like like I really don't care. Like that's not my like focus thing. I just love the way they look. I think they look so elegant, and lace sleeves now are so like sheer that it's almost like you're not wearing a sleeve. There's just something about it. But it was this one was actually too big. Like they only had a sample size like 6 sizes bigger than me. And so the sleeves sat really high up my arm, and I have really short arms, and of course sample sizes assume that everything is just bigger, including your arms. And so like the sleeves sat really high on my shoulders and like really high on my neck. And I want a slightly lower cut lace and like the lace to be slightly lower on my arm. And so she was trying to show me what that would look like. And she's like, you just kind of have to imagine it. And I'm like, okay, but like, is it going to be cleavage showing or is it going to be like cleavage hiding? Because I want a little bit of cleavage showing, but like not too much. And I don't want the sleeves sticking up like little tiny like feathers off my shoulders. And she's like, well, it'll be like this. And she had to like pull it down on me and then hold it and then try to turn with me. And I'm just like, it's hard for bridal because like it's not like mass produced. It's usually produced for your size, for your shape. So I get it. They can't carry all the sizes. But I feel like bridal in general in the fashion world is definitely the last to adopt plus size.
Absolutely. Yeah. And definitely consultants are the last to adopt it. I mean, everything she was saying has merit and truth. And there's like, you know, because you don't know what everybody's issues are regarding their body. So it is good to say, like, so if you are concerned about this.
Oh, for sure. That didn't offend me that much.
Right, but it's the way in which you say it and present it. And to assume you're a curvier woman, so, you know, you want everything sucked in. It's like, no.
Yeah.
To assume that you have issues with your arms without you actually telling them, again, is just like...
Because she could have said, why do you want sleeves? And I could have said, I think they look really beautiful and elegant. And she could have been like, okay. Yeah. Not going to make a comment.
Right.
But she made assumptions, which was the hard part. And like, yeah, she was very true. The corset does give a good shape. And it really did suck me in. And she's like, oh, I really tightened it to show you the effect. And I was like, I would be really uncomfortable. She's like, well, after the photos, you can loosen it because it doesn't matter then. And I was like,
wow.
I don't think I'm going to be going back there.
No.
Fair to say, for my actual purchasing. Honestly, I found a shop on Etsy that I really like that I think that I could find a dress. I'm just more getting an idea of what I like. But yeah, it was a very like interesting hour. It was a very interesting hour. And it just goes to show that like prejudice is everywhere.
Yep. Okay, so speaking of your dresses, can you please have cape?
A cape?
A cape. And can your bridesmaid please have capes?
You want everyone to have a cape?
I want everyone to have a cape.
What kind of cape do you mean? Did you like
your
Red Riding Hood
yes.
cape? Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I was thinking, and I don't know why I was thinking, it's probably, I don't know. Because like I saw your aunt's cape.
Oh yeah.
And the red one was so pretty.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be so cute if you had like one color and your bridesmaid had like different colors. And then if you had like a group photo, how adorable that would be.
That would be
if
so
you were
cute.
all in capes.
That would be cute. You are right.
Yeah.
Talking about capes.
Oh, and then you could have like a picture in the woods with like you in the front and then like a V shaped, and you guys look like you were like a witch's cauldron or cult or whatever.
I do
with your
really
hoods
love
on.
That. I do
that
really
so
like
cute.
that. I do really like that. God damn it, Nora. Okay, so on the topic of capes, because I've been thinking about this. It's a fall wedding, right? So it's gonna be a little chilly, so it would be kind of nice to have capes. I want a very non-traditional veil. And I found the veil I want in a cape.
Ooh.
So I'll just describe it because, I mean, on a podcast, there's no point in showing a picture.
Yeah.
But basically, the veil is embroidered with flowers. But, like, not like roses and stuff like that. It's like in color, like green leaves and vines and stuff like that, and like round poppies and like stuff like that, all down the veil.
Oh, that's the one you showed me, right?
That's the one I showed you. And they have it in a cape.
Oh, that's gonna be so pretty.
Yeah. I don't know that they have a hood, but I'm sure if I talked to the designer, producer, they might be able to do something like that, or I could just order, because I know how to sew. Like, I took textiles, so I know how to make clothes. I could just order the cape and then a small veil and just like
that would
stitch
be
it into
so
a hood.
Cute. I like that.
Yeah. The only question is, what color capes should the bridesmaids have if their skirts are going to be pink? Not pink, but like dusty rose blush.
Wow. We need something complimentary because
because they're gonna wear white shirts. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's tricky.
I'd have to think about that because the wedding colors are navy, blush, and sage, like green. So it could be a navy.
I feel like that would be too harsh with the blush and the white, though.
That's true. We could do blush.
You could even do white, but that I feel like might be clashing with you.
Close, yeah, a bit too close to me because the men are gonna be in navy.
Yeah.
Because we could do sage, because that's all three colors. But I don't know if that's. I think with the blush that would look really nice. But I don't know if the blush, the sage, and the navy in such large quantities would look too nice. Things to think about.
It's good thing you have 2 years.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason we did 2 years is because, one, Kyle's full-time school, I'm full-time work. It'd be really difficult to, like, just organize it in a year. Like, my friend did it, and it's like, I don't know how she did it, to be honest. And two, we know there's going to be idea changes and stuff that we want.
Exactly.
So, I'll have to think on that, see what I can figure out. Maybe ombre.
Ooh.
So the capes are white at the top, and they change into a color at the bottom.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Because then we could do a really light shade. Instead of white at the top, it could be a really light shade of whatever's at the bottom, and much darker at the bottom.
You could do like an ombre of like blush and then into a darker red. Or like a darker
like a
red.
maroon.
And then, yeah.
Like a maroon. Because I was thinking I could do the the maids of, because I have two maids of honor. Because anyway, I was thinking they might be in maroon skirts. Too much to think about. Oh, that looks so cute though. And me in my flower cape. Okay. Well, on that note, what is our question of the week? And don't ask me what last month's question was, because I don't remember.
It was about suffering. I remember about that.
Oh, that's right. Whether we should suffer for our success.
I feel like the general theme today was about.
Like assumptions.
Assumptions, yes.
Yeah, like norms.
Yeah, and prejudices and kind of like paradoxes of life.
Yeah. So maybe the question could be, what are your paradoxes?
Yeah.
So what do you do, or what do other people do that is considered abnormal?
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think that it's not?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Cool.
So from me, Emma.
And me, Nora.
We'll see you next month.